Hello and welcome to our afternoon session brought to you by the Jefferson Franklin Community Action Corporation through the Small Business Resource Center. In this session, we are going to be talking about what is the SBRC and how can it help your small business. And we're going to be going over disaster preparedness for your small business, as well as cybersecurity for your small business. So, without any further ado, let's go ahead and hop into it. This is brought to you by the Jefferson Franklin Community Action Corporation through the Small Business Resource Center. We are funded by the SBA. The Small Business Resource Center is a nonprofit organization brought to you by the Jefferson Franklin Community Action Corporation. We are funded by the U.S. Small Business Administration through the Community Navigator Pilot Program. We provide no-cost consulting to entrepreneurs and small businesses in Jefferson, Franklin, Washington, St. Francis, and St. Genevieve counties in Missouri. We also connect these clients with resources or spokes to assist them with other services such as accounting, legal, marketing, and funding through loan application assistance. As a disclaimer, the purpose of this presentation is to provide general information only. It is not intended to be a comprehensive summary of any ordinances, regulations, or laws. The information presented does not constitute legal advice. One should always contact their attorney, CPA, or any other professional or authoritative agency with any questions or concerns. So first up is, what is the SBRC and how can it help your small business? Before we jump into that, I want to let everyone know that the SBRC is not a funding source. Jefferson Franklin Community Action Corporation was one in 51 agencies awarded a grant by the U.S. Small Business Administration and the only one in Missouri to be given this grant as well. This grant provides funding to be able to operate the SBRC, and it allows the SBRC to pay for the services received by our clients, who are entrepreneurs and small business owners, from our resource partners or spokes. So we are not a funding source. We do not give out grants to businesses, and we do not give out loans to businesses. We only connect them with resources and provide assistance to them. The Community Navigator Pilot Program is with Yep. So Brittany is sharing, sorry, I forgot to mention, as we go through this webinar, there's going to be certain links that I reference, and Brittany is going to be sharing those in the chat for you. So you can learn more about the CNPP program on the SBA site at sba.gov/CNPP. As an overview, through the CNPP program, the SBA is engaging with states, local governments, SBA resource partners, and other organizations in targeted outreach for small businesses in underserved communities. The program offers funding to nonprofit state and local governments, universities, and tribal entities to partner with the SBA at the center of the Hub and Spoke network, which we'll go over in a little bit. These hubs then support spoke organizations, which are trusted, culturally knowledgeable local groups and individuals who will connect to specific sectors of the entrepreneurial community to provide assistance during economic recovery, including financial assistance and access to capital, contracting and procurement, marketing, operations, business development, and exporting. Also, industry-specific training. For additional information, you can find more in the frequently asked questions section and how the community navigators can provide technical assistance. So, how do you receive assistance from us, the SBRC? In order to receive assistance from the SBRC, clients must first register with us. To register, you can visit our website at jfcac.org/SBRC. What you'll do is enter your information about yourself and your business. Please understand, we never ask for any type of personal data. We're not going to ask for your social security number. We're not even going to ask for your date of birth. We just want to know who you are. We want to know some information about your business and to make sure that your business is actually located here in Missouri within the areas that we service. Once you register, a business coach will reach out to you to introduce themselves and to do the initial consult with you to evaluate what your needs are. Your business coach will then advise you what spokes they're going to refer you to. They will also provide your information to the spoke so that the spoke can reach out to you to schedule your assistance. So, as I mentioned earlier with that hub and spoke model, this is what it looks like. Kind of like a wheel, even though this is kind of more of an oval. But here you can see that the SBRC is in the center as the hub of the network. And then going out are the spokes, which are our marketing, legal, funding, and accounting spokes. So first up is our marketing spoke. They assist the SBRC clients with the development and creation of logo and branding, website and social media pages, business cards, signage, merchandise, and other things along those lines. Please understand that I am saying the development and creation of. So this is going to be that intellectual creation of it, not the actual physical business cards or signs. The SBRC does not cover the costs of advertising campaigns and billboards, continual costs of running a website or social media management, or tangible or physical materials such as business cards, signs, and merchandise. Again, we can pay for our marketing spoke to help you create what those things are going to look like. But when it comes down to actually ordering the business cards, say our marketing spoke designs the business card for you, we'll absolutely cover that. But when it comes down to ordering the business cards, say you want to order 1,000 of them, that is on the client, the small business owner, to pay for those business cards. The SBRC does not. As far as legal goes, our attorney helps clients by reviewing contracts, assisting with filing for business formations, looking over commercial transactions, and other legal services as needed as pertaining to, leases, things like that. And funding. Again, we are not a funding source, but we can assist our clients to apply for funding. We do assist with writing business plans. As anyone in that's starting up a business knows, if you're applying for funding, you do need a business plan. But a little known fact that is emerging is if you are an established business owner, even if you've been established for 10, 15, 20 years, if you go to apply for business funds, those financial institutions are asking for business plans now, even for an established business. So we can assist you, whether you're a new business or an established business, in creating that business plan so that you can apply for that funding. We can assist with applying for grants and loans, and we can refer them to our various contacts at banks and other financial organizations for more in-depth consultations. That's where they can help you figure out if you may be eligible for loans or what type of loans are even right for you and your business. Our accounting spoke can help you with tax review. They do not file your taxes for you. We do not cover that. They can file their taxes for you, but that would be under your own payment. The SBRC would not cover your taxes being filed for you, but we do cover your taxes being reviewed. Our accountant can help you with budgeting and looking over your budget, bookkeeping review, payroll review, and then also setting up bookkeeping software or transitioning into in between softwares or setting up a new one. And then also separating personal and business funds. This is a big one that we also in the SBRC help people understand. We get many clients that call and say, okay, I want to apply for a business loan, but when I get the money, I'm going to clear up some personal debt and then use what's left for the business. That is not how that works. You cannot do that. That is referred to as piercing the corporate veil when you use business funds to cover personal costs. So that is not something you can do. That also opens you personally up to any liabilities that are claimed against the business because there is no separation between personal and business at that point. So if you are paying your personal electricity bill or personal credit card bills with business funding and anything happens and a claim is made against your business and they see that those payments have been made and funds have been used like that, they can come after you personally and your personal assets like your home, your car, anything else. So you always want to make sure to keep your personal and business funds separate. All right, so our partners and spokes. While our spokes do a great job of assisting our clients, there are times we need to reach out to other organizations to assist our clients with other services. For example, if a client needs IT services, we currently do not have a spoke who provides such services. So, our resource specialist, which is me, will research and reach out to area companies to partner with the SBRC for the needed assistance for that client. Our spokes are contracted with the SBRC to provide services to our clients and in turn provide reporting back to the SBRC on how they helped the client. Now, that reporting is very important to us because when our spokes report back to us, we report that back to the SBA to show that we are helping clients, we are making a difference, we are helping area businesses start up, recover, and grow and stay in business. So that reporting data is very, very vital and important as that's what keeps our program going and that's what shows the SBA, that's what shows the federal government that these types of programs are needed to help our local small businesses survive. Now, as far as our partners go, they're not contracted, but they do agree to help us with specific projects and clients on an as needed basis. And as far as our no cost services go, our business coaches provide no cost consulting to clients, advising them on how to file their business with the state of Missouri, how to create a business plan, and even grant assistance. When our business coaches refer a client to a spoke or partner, they communicate the needs of the client and what services we will cover, we being the SBRC. This prevents any miscommunications or services being provided to the client we are not able to pay for. So, with that, let's talk about again what the SBRC does not cover. Services provided to the clients when there has been no referral made cannot be covered by the SBRC. So, for instance, if a client registers with us and we have our consultation, however, they don't quite tell us what they are needing or they don't commit to being referred out to the spoke. But then the client themselves reaches out to the spoke and says, "Oh, I'm a member, I'm a client of the SBRC. You need to give me these services, and they'll cover it." That's absolutely not how that works. The spoke will not do the work for the client that will be covered by the SBRC until they receive that referral from the SBRC staff. Again, those tangible or physical materials cannot be covered by the SBRC, and the SBRC cannot assist any client wishing to have a business dealing with any marijuana type merchandise or paraphernalia. While marijuana is now legal in Missouri, it is still illegal federally, so SBA funds cannot be utilized for any type of that business. Other business entities do apply, but we won't get into those at this time. And finally, the SBRC is not a one and done deal. As a client of the SBRC, you can get assistance from all of our spokes, not just one. And to add to that, once you receive assistance from the SBRC and our spokes, you can return to get more assistance later. Now, the only catch is you have to remain in contact with us. Whether it's emailing us back, answering the phone for just a quick meeting, because we're going to call and check on you. Whether it is just asking how you're doing, or we're following up to say, hey, we know you applied for this grant. Did you get those funds awarded? Did you get approved for that loan? Was the attorney able to help you? We have to stay in contact with you. So again, we can report that information back to the SBA to show that we are assisting those small businesses succeed. And as a success story, Brooke Reed is a client of ours, and she agreed to let us use this success story. She is the creator and founder of the Picture Perfect Potty Company. Brittany is sharing the link for her website, which our marketing spoke created for her. So you can visit that if you would like. But her success story is as follows. She was at an event and was kind of looking around thinking, wow, there's some porta potties here. She's seeing the regular gray or green fiberglass porta potties, and she thinks, it would be great if there was a nicer way to have portable restrooms. Well, that's exactly what she did. She got an enclosed trailer and made two bathrooms in there. And I mean full-fledged bathrooms. You walk in, there's a door that can close and lock, and there is a flushable toilet, a sink with running water, a vanity, a mirror, decorations. I mean, it's very, very nice. So if you're having an outdoor event, if you're doing anything where you would like a little bit more of an upscale restroom for your guests to use, this is what she created her business for. She was even featured on a Channel 5 segment not long ago. So her success story is starting a small business from scratch with nothing more than an idea and a little personal savings has been far more complex than I initially anticipated. While my professional background as an ER nurse had given me excellent people skills in time management, I had no knowledge of business management, much less how to launch a startup. I painstakingly self educated my way through formulating a business plan, establishing the LLC, and ordering my first trailer. I only wish I had discovered the services offered by the SBRC sooner, as I now know they offer these services as well. Mrs. Shannon, the director, has been fantastic to work with. She has referred me to the various spokes of the program in the areas I needed help. Thanks to the services provided by the SBRC, I am able to launch my new small business feeling confident that my logo, brand presentation, website, and marketing materials come across as classy and professional, precisely the image I want for my company. Details such as having the appropriate legal contracts in place, proper professional tax advising, and a simple professional logo can become quite costly, yet without them, success is far less likely. I feel that the services provided by the SBRC are the very services that are most necessary for a small business to achieve success. Here we have some frequently asked questions of the program. One of the most common ones that we get is, can a nonprofit receive assistance from the SBRC? The short answer is no. Unfortunately, like all government funding, they have strict guidelines and rules that dictate what the funding is and is not allowed to be used for. Since this funding is intended for the assistance of small business recovery, growth, and startup in lieu of the COVID pandemic, it is strictly focused on the for profit businesses. There is one type of nonprofit that may be eligible, and that would be ones whose mission is to assist small businesses through their services. If you have a nonprofit that provides services to other for profit businesses and feel you may meet these terms, please feel free to inquire further so we can evaluate the details and figure out if you will qualify. Another one is, can I get funding without using my personal credit score? Now, typically, your credit score will be a part of the consideration since they use this to assist them in determining the risk factors of lending to the business and to the person who owns the business, and their known habits are still the best way for the underwriters to determine the level of risk involved. This is something that is considered typically along with a business plan that helps paint the picture of the business's potential to succeed based on the overall and statistical details within it. There may be some funding available that would not use credit scores. However, these forms of funding are usually for significantly smaller amounts and may require earnest money upfront or collateral of the business or personal equity. And one more that we're definitely getting a lot of these days. Can you provide my business with employees? Now, when this program started, the CNPP program, the employee shortage wasn't a big thing. We were coming off of COVID, but the employee shortage just wasn't there, and businesses weren't feeling it like they are now. So that wasn't a goal that was set forth by the SBA. So we can't necessarily help with that staffing issue, but we can help with in other ways for that. We can assist with pointing you towards good sources to find potential employees, as well as help with mentoring services that could help you learn the best practices and approaches to finding employees. However, we do not keep any type of employee base or list of anyone looking for work. We also cannot make any recommendations of employees or referrals of any specific person to hire. We do realize in today's times this is a very tough area for almost every business, and hope we will be able to provide you that little extra assistance that may allow you to help manage this battle and be in a better position as a business to retain good employees through all our other forms of assistance that we do offer. So again, we can't necessarily help like a staffing agency would, but we can definitely help you through the hiring process, talk with you about different tactics on how to keep employees as well. All right, so with that, we bring the SBRC section to an end and we go ahead on into disaster preparedness for your small business. So let's start with what is a disaster? So we've got our natural disasters, which are sometimes referred to as acts of God, and these have to deal a lot with weather, tornado or damaging winds, floods, earthquakes, wildfires, or other weather-related occurrences. And then we have our human-caused disasters, which consists of arson, vandalism, civil unrest, threats, pandemic, or a cyber attack, which oh, I didn't update that. I apologize. Which we're actually going to be talking about cybersecurity in the very next section today. All right, so we're going to talk about pre-disaster plan activation, post-disaster analysis of your disaster preparedness plan, disaster relief options, and disaster loan assistance. So, pre-disaster, what do you need to be talking about and considering before disaster strikes? You need to identify the risks and hazards. What external environmental elements can harm your business? On the flip side, what internal elements of your business can harm the external environment? For example, I used to work for an electronics recycling company. So that means we were intaking all kinds of electronics and also motors. So, for instance, electronics have batteries in them. Motors have a lot of different fluids in them, from antifreeze to oil, and if there's any remaining fuel in there. So, what happens when there's a flood and that building is flooded? If those things aren't properly stored in a watertight container, then those fluids from the acid from the batteries, the fluids from the motors can leak out into the environment. So you need to be thinking, water can get in here and hurt my business, but what is in my business that can get out with the water and harm the environment? So always be cognitive of what is going on outside of your business as well as inside. You need to establish a team to prepare and respond to emergencies and disasters on behalf of the business. So you need to assign each member a specific response duty or role. You need to develop a continuity plan with a communication strategy. Also, develop and maintain an inventory list of any in stock products as well as equipment. Keep manufacturer name and serial numbers for equipment as well as service contact information. Develop a backup schedule for computer files, and continually back up all financial records saved to an offsite device or server. You can find helpful resources such as toolkits, checklists, and safety tips on the SBA website. So, links for these helpful SBA resources are being shared in the chat by Brittany, and these are, at sba.gov, irs.gov, ready.gov. So you can go and visit all of those to see some of those resources that can help you out. Okay, so plan activation. Depending on the type of disaster, your disaster preparedness plan will either be proactive or reactive. So let's talk about proactive first. You can activate your plan when you're made aware of an imminent disaster, such as some weather related occurrences, anticipated civil unrest, or received threats. You can be reactive, which would mean you have to activate your plan after the disaster has occurred, like, again, some weather related occurrences. Sorry, I can't say that properly today. Weather related occurrences, arson, active threats, or cyber attacks. Regardless of timing, once the plan is activated, team members should immediately assume their assigned roles and duties. So, disaster is struck. What are you doing? So, post-disaster, you need to assess damages and or losses. Immediately contact insurance and develop the plan of action to restore business operations based on the type of disaster. The team member designed to contact vendors and customers should start reaching out to inform them of the business's situation and plans. This is a very important one because if you live here and you have your business here in Missouri, but you have a vendor who is shipping you materials from, say, Maryland, and we have a tornado, um, that business in Maryland doesn't know that that's happening. So while we're in the middle of trying to clean up after a disaster, here comes a semi truck trying to deliver your goods from your vendor in Maryland. And you're looking there going, I have nowhere to offload this. I have no machine to offload this. Why did you deliver it? Well, nobody contacted them. The same for customers. You want to make sure that your customers understand, hey, we just got our building torn down by a tornado, so we're going to have to refund your money. We can't make this for you, or, keep them in the know. Or if it's something like, hey, we're just going to be delayed a little bit, this is what happened. They need to be in the know, your customers and your vendors. That's very important. And finally, analyze your plan. Once business operations have been restored, take time to analyze how effective your plan was. Was communication effective? Did team members understand their roles and effectively carry out their duties? Were there any particular strengths or weaknesses? When you've completed your analysis, amend your plan as necessary. Continue to review and provide trainings to your team on the plan annually or as amendments are actually made. And disaster relief. After disaster strikes, get help. The SBA provides low interest loans to help businesses recover from declared disasters. How do you use an SBA disaster loan? Well, these take care of losses that are not covered by, excuse me, by insurance or funding from the Federal Emergency Management Agency, or FEMA. And they cover business operating expenses that could have been met had the disaster not occurred. So, we're going to go over the types of SBA disaster loans for small businesses. We've got our business physical disaster loans. This is when you've experienced damage to your business and are in a declared disaster area. This covers disaster losses not fully covered by insurance. Then we have economic injury disaster loans. This is when you've experienced a substantial economic injury and are in a declared disaster area. This provides working capital when the business is unable to meet its obligations and to pay its ordinary and necessary operating expenses. And then we also have the Military Reservist Economic Injury Loans. This provides funds to an eligible small business to help meet its ordinary and necessary operating expenses that it could have met but is unable to because an essential employee was called up to active duty in their role as a military reservist. All right. And that takes care of our disaster preparedness. And we are rolling right along. We're actually getting things taken care of a little ahead of schedule. So that's always good to be early instead of late, right? So here we are in cybersecurity for small businesses. So, why is cybersecurity important? Businesses need cybersecurity awareness and a strategy to protect themselves, their customers, and all data they store from cyber threats. We're going to go over threats, good internet browsing practices, how to avoid how to avoid suspicious downloads, authentication tools, how to keep your data safe, and we'll even briefly discuss if your personal credit is at risk. So let's talk about some common threats. And some of these may be familiar to you, some of them may not. So we'll start with malware. This is an umbrella term that refers to software intentionally designed to cause damage to a computer, server, or computer network. Malware can include viruses and ransomware, which brings us to viruses. These are harmful programs intended to spread from computers to other connected devices like a disease. Cybercriminals use viruses to gain access to your systems and to cause significant and sometimes unrepairable issues. And that leads us right into ransomware. This is a specific type of malware that infects and restricts access to a computer until some sort of ransom is provided, basically like kidnapping. Ransomware will commonly encrypt data on the victim's device and demand money in return for a promise to restore the data. Ransomware exploits unpatched vulnerabilities in software and is usually delivered through phishing emails. So let's talk about some spyware. This is a form of malware that is designed to gather information from a target and then send it to another entity without consent. There are types of spyware that are legitimate, legal, and operate for commercial purposes, such as advertising data collected by social media platforms. However, malicious spyware is used frequently to steal information and send it to other parties. And phishing. This is a type of cyber attack that uses email or a malicious website to infect your computer or system with malware or to collect sensitive information. Phishing emails appear as though they've been sent from a legitimate organization or known individual. These emails often entice users to click on a link or open an attachment containing malicious code. Be very cautious about opening links from unknown sources. If something seems suspicious from a known source, don't just click on it. Ask the source directly if it's legitimate. For instance, if Brittany, who I work with, sends me an email that is out of character or just kind of seems off to me, if she's saying, hey, check this out, and it's got some kind of link to it, and that's normally isn't what she would do. Normally, she would text something like that to me, or she would call me and say, you're never going to believe what I just saw. I'm sending you the link now. To receive something like that from her randomly and unannounced, I know would be out of character for her. So rather than just clicking on it or even replying to the email, I'm going to call or text her and say, hey, Brittany, did you just send me that? Oh, you didn't? Okay. And immediately I'm going to forward that email to my IT person and say, hey, Brittany's email got hacked, or this came from someone acting like Brittany, so that they can go ahead and take the steps that they need to do to protect anyone else from receiving that email or clicking on it. So let's talk about this phishing email example. Take a moment here to take a look at this entire email, who it's from, what the subject is, the date, who it's to, the attachment, how it's worded, and who it's from. Also that it contains a link. Now, what you'll do, look at all the things that's a red flag about this email. The sender email address. This is from a Gmail account. Anyone can create a Gmail account. I can go on there and create a Gmail account in Brittany's name. She could create one in my name. I could create one in anyone's name. There's not a lot of security measures in place to keep someone from imitating someone else for Gmail. This didn't come from AT&T.com. This came from somebody at Gmail. The subject, delinquent account. When you get an email or a notification that something is delinquent, whether it's professional or business, or I'm sorry, professional or personal, you immediately think, oh my gosh, something's going to get canceled. I'm going to get hit with a late fee. I'm not going to receive something. So you want to fix that immediately. So that delinquent word creates a panic, creates a sense of urgency in you. The date, well, it doesn't even exist. To Jane Doe, okay, we'll say that that is our name. But then take a look at that attachment. It doesn't say, September bill. It doesn't say, or I'm sorry, February bill. It doesn't say, XYZ bill. It's a random assortment of numbers, characters, and letters. And then it also says, Dear customer. It doesn't even address Jane Doe by name. Dear Jane, Dear Doe, Dear Jane Doe, Dear Mrs. Doe, whatever. It doesn't even address the customer by name. It says, Dear customer. So that right there is a big red flag, because that can be replicated over and over and over again with no personalization required. So they can blast that out to everybody. I am contacting you today because your company have a overdue invoice that must be paid now to avoid account to close. That line in itself is a big hot mess. If invoice is not paid immediately, we will send to a collection agency the invoice attached for you to view. Click the below link to pay or reply this email with payment information at once to avoid more collections attempt. Every single sentence in there has a problem with it. And then it's asking you to reply with payment information or click a link to pay now. That is all sketchy in itself. Now let's talk about Mary Smith, Financial Accounts, AT&T Company. Let's go ahead and call that phone number. I bet it doesn't go to Mary Smith. Not only that, why would a financial accounts representative be contacting me? Why would it not be a billing accounts representative? So it's just very sketchy. So this is something you are not going to want to reply to. You don't want to open the attachment. You don't want to click on the link to pay now. You want to send that to spam or notify your IT director that something is amiss here. So let's talk about what your response plan is for malware. You want to identify which endpoints have been impacted by the attack. Then you want to communicate once the impact of the attack and the point of entry have been identified. Communicate your findings to the necessary parties as soon as possible. Block. If possible, block any further access from the origin of the malware, such as the originating website, email, or IP address. Restore. Put affected data back in a known good state where there is no chance of malware remaining. This can be done with re-imaging, rebuilding, or a combination of the two. And recover. Recover as much affected data as you can using available backups. This is particularly applicable to ransomware attacks. And re-examine. You need to sit back and take a hard look at your current security strategy and what allowed the malware to get through in the first place. By analyzing and sealing these gaps, you protect your organization from a similar attack in the future. All right, so we went from your malware plan. Let's talk about some of these wares that you need to be on the lookout for. So first, shareware. The users have a chance to try a limited version of a new software for free. Developers can have consumers test their products. This is popular with gamers since they're able to try a portion of a new game before purchasing the full version. And users are encouraged to share the limited version of the software to promote larger distribution and sales. This brings us to freeware. This is copyrighted software and is available at no cost for unlimited use. So again, no cost, but this is unlimited use. Developers retain all the rights to the program and controls the distribution. Users can sometimes purchase additional services or options like upgrading to a better package. And adware. Advertisement materials displays or downloads while the program is running. This allows the developer to potentially make money from ads within the program. This is most often distributed via freeware, but can still be in shareware. This can also track your online behavior and display personalized ads. So anyone who has any kind of social media, specifically Facebook, knows that if there's clickbait on there, right? So if you click on something, then there's a few little ads that pop up here and there, a few little videos, and you got to X out of them and continue on to what you really want to get to. But then you find, okay, this really isn't what I thought it was, and you get out of it. Well, then you start seeing more and more of those pop up on your Facebook thanks to the adware that is encrypted in the algorithms. So yes, they are absolutely tracking your online behaviors. It's the same as if you Google something and then boom, a promo for it pops up on your Facebook. That's all of that is. So let's talk about good internet browsing practices. You want to avoid visiting sites that lack an SSL certificate. URLs of SSL enabled sites typically begin with HTTPS. You've got to pay attention to that S, like secure, rather than HTTP. And you will see the padlock at the beginning. Here's a little snip of our website, jfcac.org. See how it's got the padlock and the HTTPS? That S again is for secure. You need to pay attention to the websites you visit or are routed to. You want to make sure you're visiting legitimate and trusted websites for safe and secure browsing. You want to regularly check trusted websites for its latest safety information. You want to make sure that you're making purchases from secure sites. Keep the browser you use updated, and be careful when clicking on hyperlinks and ads. You want to use a secure internet connection and not use public Wi Fi to conduct private business, especially containing customer data or payment information. Make sure that your pop up blocker is on, and clean your web browser cookies and cache. So that brings us to avoiding suspicious downloads. If you're online, check if the source site is the legitimate official source. Hackers will register websites using the official name with a different TLD, which is the ending .com, .net, .org. For example, our official website is jfcac.org, but there could be a fake website out there, such as jfcac.tech. You want to check the file for the proper extension. Typically, an image appears as a JPEG or a PNG. A form will appear as a docx, PDF, or RTF. Whenever you see .exe, that can be a dangerous file. And also, you want to avoid from unknown sources like .rar and .zips. Do not open or download any attachments from unknown or suspicious-looking email senders. You want to keep your antivirus turned on as a last line of defense. All right, so authentication tools, and man, are there a lot of them out there today. You want to enable multi-factor authentication. Cell phones have the option to enable facial or thumbprint recognition in addition to a passcode to unlock the phone or use login information stored on the phone for various accounts or apps. You want to make sure to set your accounts to notify you when a login attempt has been made. Also, set your accounts to require a verification via text or phone call when a login attempt has been made. You want to make sure that you're using strong passwords. Do not use the same password on multiple accounts. Do not use easily guessed passwords. And use passwords containing letters, numbers, and characters to form a random word, such as pineapple dog 75. So in that random word or random phrase, you've got two different capitalized letters. You've got some special characters and some random numbers thrown in there. That would be a pretty hard one to guess. Some smartphones even give the option of a strong password containing a random sequence of letters, numbers, and characters. Me personally, I don't choose that option because it can be pretty tough to combat that if you forget it or it doesn't save to your phone. So I just try to use different passwords, and I save those passwords to my phone. But again, I have an iPhone, so it has to recognize my face, or you have to know my 5-digit passcode to get into my phone. But then if I want to access my passwords, it wants to scan my face again or go ahead and put in that passcode again. Keeping data safe. Secure payment processing. You want to work with your bank or card processors to ensure you are using the most trusted and validated tools in anti-fraud services. You may also have additional security obligations related to agreements with your bank or payment processor. Isolate payment systems from less secure programs and do not use the same computer to process payments and casually browse the internet. You want to make sure to control physical access, so prevent access or the use of business computers by unauthorized individuals. For instance, if you're assigning your employee a business laptop, make sure that they're not taking it home and letting their kids watch Bluey on YouTube on it. Laptops and mobile devices can be particularly easy targets for theft and can be lost, so lock them up when unattended. Make sure a separate user account is created for each employee and requires a strong password. Administrative privileges should only be given to trusted IT staff and key personnel. Conduct access audits on a regular basis to ensure that former employees have been removed from your systems and have returned all company-issued devices. Back up your data. Regularly back up data on all of your computers. Forms of critical data include word processing documents, electronic spreadsheets, databases, financial files, human resource files, and accounting files. If possible, institute data backups so cloud storage on a weekly basis to cloud storage on a weekly basis. And control data access. So earlier, just a minute ago, we talked about controlling physical access. Now we want to control data access. Frequently audit the data and information you are housing in cloud storage repositories such as Dropbox, Google Drive, Box, and Microsoft services. Appoint administrators for cloud storage, drive, and collaboration tools and instruct them to monitor user permissions, giving employees access to only the information they need. So, for instance, a secretary or a janitor is not going to need access to the same data that the CEO or the accountant has, and vice versa. So, you might want to just make sure and do that audit to make sure that only the necessary people are seeing the data necessary to their jobs. All right, so let's talk about assessing your business's risk. Having a cybersecurity plan is becoming a common requirement, almost as much so as a business plan. And this is because not a lot of businesses can do business without some type of technology, some type of computer, credit card processor, your smartphone. Data and technology and cyber risks are all over. So that's just something that a financial organization is going to want to make sure that you also have a plan for that. What happens when this happens? What happens if this happens? What strides are you making to prevent this from happening? So that is coming across more and more commonly. It's a good practice to have either a dedicated IT employee or a contracted IT consultant or company to monitor your business's systems and to be a point of contact if there is suspicious activity. You want to visit the SBA website for valuable resources. There you can take advantage. Oh, give me just a moment. I'm going to take a quick break. I'm sorry. All right, I apologize for that. And so again, here at the Strengthening Your Cybersecurity link that Brittany just shared in the chat, you can take advantage of their various cybersecurity tools and resources, like the cybersecurity planning tool that helps you create a custom cybersecurity plan based on your business's needs. So earlier we talked about how your credit may be at risk. So let's dive into that a little bit. Websites ask probing questions under the guise of security. These questions may seem routine and generalized at first, but may progress into more personal identifying data. So when you go to sign up for something, typically you are asked to create a username and password. If you use the same passwords for multiple accounts, this is an easy way to be hacked. So to do this, you'll put in your email address. Sometimes they even ask for your phone number. What about a mailing address? What about your mother's maiden name and father's middle name and your favorite pet? What about your date of birth? And sometimes even the last 4 or 6 digits of your social security number, if not the full social security number. So these are all things that, as you're being asked this throughout multiple different platforms, these are no longer secure questions because this data is now out there. And that also is identifying information for you personally, so this is just an easier way for hackers to gather more personal information about you. Providing this personal data exposes individuals and their businesses to the risk of identity theft and other crimes. So, with that, let's jump over to social media. Is it safe? As with any site on the internet, you must be cautious when providing information about yourself. Take this time to think about what's available on your social media page or pages right now. So I know mine are all set to private. You can't see a whole lot about me, but there are some that are out there that are public. It will tell somebody where your hometown is, where you currently live, where you went to high school, where you went to college. So right there, where you went to high school. Some common security questions are, what was your high school mascot? Well, if it's listed on your social media page, all somebody has to do is click on that link or Google it. What is, you know, Hillsborough R3 mascot? What is, um, you know, Jeffco College mascot? So those are things that are easily able to be found out. Answering questions on social media pages that ask for your first concert you attended, what's your favorite vacation spot, what's your favorite movie, book, etc. Those are all ways that someone can also see an answer to a possible security question. And if people don't have their family tree set to private on family tree sites, you can also easily access information that that site would give away, such as the first, middle, and maiden names of other relatives. Remember back to that mother's maiden name, father's middle name security question? And how to check your credit. As an individual and a business owner, it is important you know what is being reported on your credit. Frequently check the accuracy of your credit reports. Sign up to use a trusted and verified credit management monitoring service such as Experian, Credit Karma, NerdWallet, or Credit Sesame. As a disclaimer, the SBRC has no affiliation with the above. They are provided as examples only and not to be construed as promotion of services or subscriptions. And so this is old. Brittany did correct me last time, but I did not update it on here. I apologize. You can now request a free copy of your credit report from the credit bureaus. I believe, Brittany, did you say it was weekly or monthly now? It used to be once per year.
Yeah, it's weekly now. I'll go ahead and find that link real quick to put it in there as well.
Awesome, thank you.
Yep.
And if there is anything on your credit report that does not belong to you, such as credit or loan accounts, late payments, inquiries, or collections, take immediate action. Contact the credit bureaus reporting the account and dispute the account. Contact the creditor reporting the account and contact the authorities if you feel your identity has been stolen. All right, and we are very much ahead of schedule, but this would be where anyone could take the time to ask any questions for us. And if you would like to see this training again or see our morning session that we had earlier today or any other of our previous trainings or webinars, please visit our official YouTube channel. Once you get to YouTube, you can look our channel up, which is at JFCAC_SBRC. And thank you so much. We appreciate you. And if there's anything we can help you with, we are happy for you to have you contact us. Have a wonderful day.